we've got our last cube draft for Full Force here. We're going to be going over Reanimator by popular demand. So we're going to try and draft a lot of the similar cards that we want for Storm, honestly. Wow, alright, well, I think it's pretty easy. Animate Dead. One of the key pieces of getting the Reanimator deck is actually getting spells that animate cards, and that does it, so let's just slam that first pick. Other good options would be Watery Grave, because we're almost certainly going to be blue and black. Blood Crypt is decent, because I think that you end up red a fair bit. Sphinx of the Steel Wind's not bad to reanimate, but lower down. The best card to reanimate is cards like Ulamog, Gristlebrand. I think those are some of the best. Inkwell Leviathan's very, very good. Things that protect themselves. Ones with Shroud or Indestructibility. Or Gristlebrand protects himself in a different way, in that even if they kill Gristlebrand right away, as long as you're doing it early enough in the game that you haven't taken a ton of damage, you can always just draw 7 new cards, and that's generally pretty good. Wow, alright, we have some interesting cards here. So we've got Hymn to Turok, we have Snapcaster Mage, and we have Dimir Signet. I like all of those. Snapcaster is good, because we're going to want to get a lot of cards that'll discard cards into our graveyard. These are the cards that I was talking about that are kind of similar to Storm. We're going to want, Careful Study, and Thirst for Knowledge, and Compulsive Research. So all those same kind of card draw engine spells, we want all those. We want things like Hymn to Turok to disrupt our opponents is actually not a bad idea. It's good to have a bit of the core combo and some ways to draw it, and then also have a way to disrupt your opponents off. So, the rest of the deck should, in my mind, you want to have, a lot of discard and counter spells and things like that. And then the rest of it be the combo. I don't know, probably 8 cards of dedicated combo, different animation spells, and then the actual fatties, and then the rest be, card draw, counter spells, and disruption. I might just want Dimir Signet here, though. It just seems like the safest pick. Snapcaster Mage is so strong, though. I don't know. I'm going to take the Snapcaster. There's really, really, really good cards in Cube to snap back. We haven't gotten anything yet, but it's certainly possible to get something like Ancestral Recall or Time Walk. Now we've got Time Twister here, which maybe not the most powerful card, but it for a reanimation deck, because it doesn't put them into your graveyard, it shuffles your graveyard. But even so, drawing new hands of 7 is probably pretty good. When you're in a reanimation deck, being able to draw a new 7 is actually really good, because you're kind of a combo deck, much like Storm. You're really just trying to find a few key cards and then go off with them. So if you can, Time Twister, draw a new hand, and in that hand you have, say, a Careful Study and an Animate Dead, well, you can, dump a fatty, Animate Dead it, and suddenly you're in great shape. So I kind of like Time Twister here. There's nothing else that's great either. I don't really like Bayou. Mental Misstep is not fantastic. Tundra might be good, because it is fixing. But I don't know. I don't mind the Time Twister. It's a powerful enough card. We've got Inkwell Leviathan, which is a great fatty. We also have Shallow Grave. Shallow Grave is weird, because it's not really a Reanimator card. It's more of a, Through the Breach, Sneak Attack kind of card with Emrakul, cards like that. You're gonna try and get Emrakul out of the grave with Shallow Grave, because you have to exile it. So you're not gonna want a card like Inkwell Leviathan, because Inkwell Leviathan hits once for 7 and then it's gone, and you just spent 2 cards or more setting it all up, and you're just gonna deal 7 damage to your opponent. That's not worth it. You need something that actually ends the game. So you need your Emrakul, your Ulamog, your Kozilek, the ones with Annihilator. You're going to want a Blightsteel Colossus or something like that to Shallow Grave, not, Inkwell Leviathan. So I think I'm going to take that here. Now we have Oath of Druids, which is actually quite interesting. It gives us another way to get our big fatties into play. It does mean that Snapcaster Mage would get a lot worse, but it is a strong card. If we have Inkwell Leviathan and Gristlebrand and Ulamog or something as finishers, and then we have Oath of Druids, I feel like we're just in kind of great shape. Oath of Druids goes into a lot of decks like this, like the Sneak Attack and Reanimator type decks, really easily, because you can just get your fatties out in a different way. It attacks from a slightly different angle, but still with some of the same cards that you're already using. I don't know, it's either Catacombs or Oath. Catacombs would be nice. I do need the fixing, especially if I'm going to play the Oath. I feel like Oath should wheel, and I'm just going to take the dual land, and maybe that's wrong, but I think that it's fine. Anticipate or Toxic Deluge. So Toxic Deluge is good just to remove creatures, obviously. I don't find it super necessary. There are some aggro decks, but it's not a huge deal. We might find a Damnation or something later. They tend to go a little later than in normal cubes, the board wipe type spells, because I don't think they're as important. You don't want to have a Toxic Deluge in your deck against Storm. But Anticipate does seem very good because it'll dig us down to the cards that we need. And we have a Snapcaster to buy it back already, which is great. Jace is fine. Nice way to slow down the game, stall things out, and it also means that we can Factor Fiction, dig down deeper again. It's too bad that it doesn't actually put the cards into your graveyard, although I'm sure that that's exactly why they didn't do it that way. Overgrown Tomb, sure. It's looking like we can splash green fairly easily. I hope that Oath of Druids does come back. I think that not a lot of people play with it because you do have to really build around it, and I don't think people often do. Decent white cards. There's also Blood Crypt, which I can get off of Verdant Catacombs, so if I want to go instead of green, if I want to go red, then that's certainly a pick that I can take here. There's also Maloku, but I don't think that's super necessary. We'll just take the Blood Crypt. Palancron, Olivia. Olivia absolutely destroys creature-based decks, by the way, because nobody can keep a creature in play against Olivia. You either just kill it or you steal it, and the whole time you're growing Olivia, and it's just insane. I think that Palancron might be better, though. It's certainly possible for us to have like a weird combo where we can reanimate Palancron, maybe have like Heartbeat. We do have ways to get green mana, and we can just like go infinite off of it and maybe do some crazy stuff. Like the option anyways. Vampire Nighthawk doesn't seem great. There's Nature's Claim. I could sideboard that. Look, I can also sideboard the Nighthawk too, though, because if I come across an aggro deck, Nighthawk seems pretty great. Alright, Pernicious Deed. Pernicious Deed seems really good, actually. If we're going to splash green, or have the option to splash green, and we're going to try and just get out like one or two finishers, Pernicious Deed seems fantastic, actually. Really good way to just wipe out the board, stall the game, and be able to go later to get like an Inkwell or something, or let it take over the game. Nissa, Putrid Imp, Exalted Angel. I'm pretty sure this is the pack that had the Oath of Druids. Putrid Imp is a way for us to discard cards, so we should definitely take that because it'll let us get the Inkwell Leviathan into our graveyard. It's not the best way to do it, but it is a way to do it. Traverse the Ulvenwald, sure. I'm not going to play Nick though, so there's no reason to take that. Alright, things we're looking for in next pack is better draw spells, specifically ones that draw and discard. We're looking for like another finisher if possible. Really in some more animation, obviously, because we have the Animate dead, but I would love an Exhume or a Reanimate. Shieldred is interesting. It does let you just keep buying things back constantly out of your graveyard. I feel like that should go a lot later, though. Ancestral Vision's very strong. Treachery is quite nice. So I think that it's between Vision and Treachery. I think I just take Vision. We're going to try and go really, really fast and just draw a bunch of cards so we can dump Inkwell in quick and reanimate it, or something similar to Inkwell, and we need to have a lot of card draw to be able to do that consistently. Treachery is good, but it also waters the deck down a little bit and makes it a little bit more murky as to what it's actually trying to do. Because that's more of like a control kind of card. Oof. Speaking of control cards, Ashiok is great as an alternate win condition, but there is also Careful Study, and I was saying that I really wanted cards like Careful Study just so that I can, again, dump Inkwell Leviathan as fast as possible and dig down to the combo pieces that we need to get it back. So I think that Careful Study is the pick here. As loath as I am to pass Ashiok, and people know this, if you've ever watched my stream, boy do I love Ashiok. The card's just fantastic. It kind of protects itself because it ups itself by so much every turn, and it doesn't take many turns for you to just finish a game. It's a little worse in Vintage Cube because the decks can be fast enough that they just ignore it, but it's still strong. Ooh. Wow, this is a pack. So we have Sneak Attack, which is great in this style of deck. It's a reason to have red. You just sneak attack in Inkwell Leviathan, let it go to the graveyard, and then animate, dead it back, which is just absurd value. It's just the best discard outlet you can ever have. We have Necromancy as well, though, that actually animates the cards. And then we have, like, Urborg to fix mana, and Tamiyo to just kind of be a control card, or Simic Signet to just ramp us. Any of these are really good picks. I definitely think it's between Sneak Attack and Necromancy. And I think right now we're just going to take Necromancy. Our mana might not be able to support Sneak Attack. We know for sure we can play Necromancy. I'm just going to take the Necromancy as a little bit of a safer pick. Now we get Exhume. Okay, we have some real options here. If we can just get the fatties and a bit of draw, this deck could be really, really strong. Another card that I actually found really good in Reanimator last time that I played was the Abyss. The Abyss was great for us in the last Reanimation deck that I made on stream, just because of the fact that we don't play a lot of other creatures, much like how we were looking at that Oath of Druids. Like, we have Snapcaster Mage and Putrid Imp maybe, but not a whole lot else. So playing something like the Abyss is great. It just stalls the game out, and you just play an Inkwell Leviathan. It can't even be targeted. Like, you play an Ulamog or an Inkwell Leviathan, and it still just doesn't die to the Abyss anyways, and you just keep eating all of your opponent's stuff. So it gives you the time that you need to let Inkwell Leviathan or Ulamog or whatever your finisher is, Gristlebrand, to finish the game. Gristlebrand's obviously a little bit worse because it does die to Abyss, but you can run other creatures and stuff to kind of get around that. Raphellos and Woodfall Primus. So apparently green ramp is open, but there's also Tropical Island. That lets us have a very solid green splash. Just another card for us to get off of Verdant Catacombs. Now Verdant Catacombs fetches black and blue mana. Even if we don't play green, we can actually just get all of our colors off the Verdant Catacombs, which is pretty great. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. We now have Cabal Ritual. Ooh, Phyrexian Metamorph. That is a nice one. Wheel of Fortune's not bad either. Discarding a bunch of fatties, drawing our animation spells is certainly a thing we can do. So, do I want to splash a Wheel of Fortune, though? That's the question. Or do I just want to play a Metamorph? Wheel of Fortune has a lot of upside and power to it. Metamorph is just a lot safer and kind of more readily playable. I feel like Wheel of Fortune is just not going to make it there. We need a lot of fatties still, too. I mean, only Inkwell Leviathan right now as a real finisher is pretty scary. Guess I'll just take Metamorph, though. Kozilek doesn't do it because it shuffles back in. I really wanted that to work. For a minute there, I thought it was the other Kozilek, but it's not. Shallow Grave would be good with this, but we didn't take the Shallow Grave, and it's only one thing. It doesn't work with the Leviathan, so then we're kind of splitting the ways that we're animating, and I don't like that either. If we'd taken the Sneak Attack and Shallow Grave, then obviously we could Kozilek. That's a little bit of a different deck, though. I wouldn't necessarily call that Reanimator. It's more like a Sneak and Show kind of deck. I guess Pentad Prism is fine. Fixes us mana. I don't want Thing in the Ice or Braids. I don't mind getting an artifact here. Phantasmal Image. Una's Prowler is a way for us to discard cards. We do already have Putrid Imp and Careful Study. Phantasmal Image or Prowler? I think we take Prowler. Or maybe not. I don't know. This is a close one. Phantasmal Image is great as like a second Inkwell or something. If we can get it out early. Or we can just buy time against our opponents by copying theirs. I think I'll take the Image. I feel like I'm going to have enough ways to discard. Alright, take Shieldred. Puppeteer Click. It's a way to animate opponent's creatures, which I don't really need. Lightning Greaves actually is really good. It's a way to protect things like Shieldred. So I actually like Lightning Greaves. I totally didn't notice that at first. Dark Petition and Urborg. Dark Petition's good because it gets one of our two key combo pieces, either like a fatty or a way to discard it, or a reanimation spell. So I definitely like Demonic Tutor type cards. I think that the fixing is important enough that I just take that, though. I'll just grab the Urborg. Maelstrom Pulse. I can play it. I have good green fixing at this point. Take out a Isamaru, I guess. I'm more concerned about a fast aggro white deck than I am about like a mid-range red deck that's going to play Storm Breath. Cabal Ritual, Bring to Light. Neither one of those probably matters. I guess we could play Bring to Light. We'd only be able to get it for 3, but that does fetch Necromancy, Pernicious Deed, Pulse. Or doesn't it doesn't fetch Necromancy, sorry. Because it's a sorcery instant or creature. Right, it doesn't include enchantments. This is really awkward. There's no fatties again. Dak Faden is great for discard, so I could just take Dak Faden. Glenlender is a very good control card. Unburial Rites is fine for reanimation, but we already have Necromancy, Animate Dead, and Exhume, and we don't have that finishers yet, so I'm not super concerned about picking up an Unburial Rites. I don't have any way to flash it back reliably either. I don't have good fixing for that. Show and Tell, wow. I can talk a lot about Show and Tell. I do not like the card. We'll just suffice to say that. I'm really not impressed with it. I've never liked it in Cube. I generally tend to beat it when it's played against me, and I generally tend to lose when I play it myself. And I've played it across a lot of cubes, dozens of times. The claim that I make, and I do believe it's true, is that I don't think I've ever won when I've resolved the Show and Tell in any cube. And that's whether I've resolved Gristlebrand off of it, or Emrakul, or anything. So I'm just going to take Dak Faden here. Try and splash it for the red, and use it as a discard outlet. We have Painful Truths, which is a way for us to draw. There's a Battle Sphere, which can be good finisher. Mana Confluence for fixing. Grawl Signet just as ramp, which is not bad. Entomb is a good way for us to get things into the graveyard. I feel like I might wheel Entomb. Then again, I might wheel Battle Sphere. We did get a late Shieldred. That's interesting. I mean, Entomb is another copy of either of these, so that's kind of nice. I might just take Entomb here, actually. Yeah, I'll take Entomb. Now we get Frost Titan, Massacre Worm. Heir of Falkenrath is another way to discard. Scalding Tarn is another way to fix mana. I actually like Scalding Tarn. Mana fixing seems pretty great. Frost Titan's not a good enough finisher that I think that we want to invest into that. We'll just take the Tarn. This way we can splash the Dak Faden a lot more reliably. Frantic Search. Ooh, Frantic Search is great. So is Imperial Seal and Grim Tutor. Volcanic Island's nice. Ooh, man, this pack is fantastic for us. I wouldn't mind Temple of Malice. I feel like one of these will wheel. Frantic Search, I think, is the card that we want. We don't always need one specific card. We might need multiples. And we also need to get things into the graveyard, which Imperial Seal doesn't necessarily help. Frantic Search, you know, kind of does everything. I don't like Frantic Search. Ooh, Compulsive and Vampiric Tutor. Kozilek the Great Distortion to reanimate. This card I actually love reanimating. It protects itself in the way that you can just discard cards to counter spells. I've gotten absolutely destroyed by an early Kozilek that an opponent played. Because I had like 3 or 4 answers in hand, and I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, it's bad they resolved it, but how likely is it that they have all the cards they can to, you know, counter everything? And the answer is they drew a bunch of cards. So because that's, you know, when you cast it, you draw back up to 7. And that's exactly what happened, is they just countered like 3 or 4 spells out of me in a row that were all answers to Kozilek and just destroyed me. So I think at this point we need another finisher, and I think Kozilek is it. I would not mind a Power Stone or a Vamp Tutor or Compulsive Research, but Kozilek just seems like the most powerful thing to do. Gifts Ungiven. Oof. Now I do kind of wish that I had that Unburial Rites. We might wheel it. Gonna be really hard to justify playing white, though. Like, are we really gonna be a, like, 5-color deck? And Gifts Ungiven, I think, is still the pick. Corpse Dance, again, it's another one of those cards that it's like Shallow Grave. Doesn't necessarily work out in this style of deck. If I Corpse Dance a Kozilek into play, I'm hitting my opponent for 12, but then Kozilek's gone and my opponent's at 8, and what do? I just spent 2 cards doing 12 damage, but that's not enough to end the game. So, ooh, Factor Fiction? Oh, man. Now we're getting that card draw. This is what I like to see. Definitely take a Factor Fiction. Creeping Tar Pit wouldn't be bad, but, I mean, it's no Factor Fiction. And Makeshift Mannequin gets things out of the graveyard. There's also Villainous Wealth, which is kind of cool. Just really, really late game. Probably unnecessary, though. Heartbeat of Spring for the Palancron stuff. If I actually could get Heartbeat and Villainous Wealth, I would seriously consider playing the Palancron and doing something crazy there. I don't think it's realistic here, though. I think the Makeshift Mannequin's fine. I mean, it's a reanimation spell, and it's kind of decent being able to do it at instant speed. Sometimes you just get people, which is nice. There's that Ulamog again. Yogg Will came back. Huh. I think I'm going to take out Time Twister. It was an interesting card to hedge on, but I don't really have a lot of ways to really abuse it. Maybe take out the Lightning Greaves. We'll have to think about that. Phantasmal Image, maybe. Or Putrid Imp. I'll have to think about how many ways I have to discard cards. Because I'm going to need some more. What do we do here? Maybe Nevinyrral's Disc? If we take Nevi's Disc, then we have another board wipe like Pernicious Deed. I think that's good. Mana Confluence, Shardless Agent, Time Spiral. We'll take the Mana Confluence. Mana Confluence does seem like a pretty good pickup for us. It does allow us the chance to play the Unburial Rites if it wheels. I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure it was this pack. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was an earlier pack even. In any case, I still like Mana Confluence. We're still 4 colors, and I'd like to make sure that we can play them. Heir of Falkenrath or Massacre Worm. Massacre Worm seems like a great card out of the sideboard against a creature deck, because it'll just one-shot people if they have a lot of creatures. Heir of Falkenrath might be more important, though, for discard. I'm just going to take Heir. I didn't have time to really count all of the discard outlets that we have, but I'm a little bit worried. Maybe I shouldn't be. I guess we have Dak Faden, Frantic Search. Dak Faden being repeatable is really good. I take Grim Tutor. Yeah, so I might have been wrong on that. Maybe we don't want to do that differently. Grab the Corpse Dance. So, we need to cut a bunch of cards. We have 26 cards in the deck. I think we want to get rid of probably the Putrid Imp. I mean, it just becomes a 2/2. I'd much rather play like an Heir of Falkenrath if I'm going to have a discard outlet like that, which is kind of... So that's kind of nice to upgrade anyways. It wasn't a terrible pick for us. Might have been able to be better, but still pretty decent. Still need to cut 2 more cards. I feel like Grim Tutor might be able to go. We've got a lot of card draw now. Maybe the Metamorph, because I don't have a lot of artifacts to copy, although I'm likely to copy some opponents' things. But that might just be a sideboard thing. Same with this Phantasmal Image. Maybe just take out those. Play the Snapcaster for, like, Exhume, Frantic Search, maybe Grim Tutor or Maelstrom Pulse. A little bit later in the game, but certainly possible. I definitely like the Lightning Greaves. If we can get Lightning Greaves on something like Shieldred, then that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I think this is good. I like this. And we've got some good fixing. We've got a lot of good dual lands and fetch lands. We've got Pentad Prism. I like this a lot. Let's go see what the lands are like. 1 forest. I'm not even sure we need that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources of green. Okay, that's probably fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources of black. Or red. Because Verdant Catacombs fetches Blood Crypt. Is it really 5 and 5? 1, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6. That's why. Scalding Tarn also fetches. Okay. And then for swamps, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Scalding Tarn. Oh, no, 10. Scalding Tarn does get swamp because it gets Blood Crypt. For some reason, I was sitting there and I'm like, I feel like this should get black. So, okay, so 10 black sources. That's absolutely fantastic. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because that'll fetch Tropical Island. Yes. So, a little bit lighter on the blue than I'd like. I think we just switch that and then we have 9 and 9. Not including the Pentad Prism. I think that's good. I like our mana. The deck's not the best Reanimator deck that I've ever had. Certainly not. But it seems powerful. It's got some decent stuff. Could have had a little bit more, like... a bit better card draw. Some fast mana to get it out, like, really, really fast. One better finisher would be nice, like a Gristlebrand or an Ulamog. Inkwell Leviathan's pretty good. Kozilek's, I think... a little bit underrated. I don't love Shieldred. She's a little too vulnerable, but it's still pretty good. Alright, let's slam this. Round 1, here we go. We've got Entomb, we've got Necromancy. Can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Let's do this.